Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Becca. I'm a registered dietitian and I make lots of videos about nutrition and wellness and lifestyle here on my channel. But today's video, as you could probably see from the title, I'm glad I got your attention, I'm going to be talking about weight loss. I have actually never talked about weight loss here on my channel before, which may be surprising because I'm a dietitian, but I've done that for a reason, honestly. I think that there's such a hyper focus on weight loss and having a perfect body, and there's just a lot of pressure put on women and men in today's society, and I think a lot of the time it's just really unnecessary. So I just never really wanted to add to the noise and add to the persuasion to always be in like a dieting mindset and worry about what your weight is and how you look on the outside. So that is why I've never done a video on it, but I do have some really good tips that I want to share. And if you are someone that feels like you would benefit from losing some weight, you would have more energy, you would just feel generally better, have better health, then I definitely want to share these tips with you because I think you'll find them really helpful. I do strongly believe that everyone does have a weight that their body is happiest at, and if you are truly taking care of yourself by staying active and eating lots of nourishing whole foods, drinking lots of water, all of that good stuff, then wherever your weight lands, I honestly think that's where you're meant to be. And how you look on the outside is kind of a secondary. So I wanted to make sure I said that because that is probably my biggest message of all about weight and weight loss in general. But anyway, let's jump into my tips. So my first tip is if you are going to commit to slow, steady weight loss, which is the best way to go, it's the easiest way to keep off and also just the healthiest for your body, you need to make sure that you're tracking your progress appropriately. So Vanity Planet is actually sponsoring this video, and they have a really awesome scale that helps you track your progress appropriately. So basically what it does is it measures not only just your weight, but it will also measure your muscle and fat percentage in your body, which is super, super important to tracking your weight loss, which I'll get to in a second. And it also measures bone density and water weight as well, which I think is pretty cool. And how this scale works is it uses what's called bioelectrical impedance. So this is actually, when I used to counsel clients in the Philly area, I carried one of these scales with me everywhere I went, and we used those just to get some data and help just get a better idea of where our clients stood as far as their muscle and body fat percentage. So how it works is it sends a current up through one of your feet and it goes through your body, down and out through the other foot. You can't feel a thing, you don't feel it at all. But basically based on the rate that that current moves through your body, it will be able to identify how much fat and muscle percentage you have in your body. So this is important to know because if you are working out and you're eating well and you're busting your butt, you may only see a difference of, a couple pounds on the scale, or maybe you don't see a change at all. And that could be such a devastation to your efforts, and it could totally throw you off track and just be really disappointing. But if you see that your fat percentage is going down and your muscle is going up, you're actually in a much better state than you were before you started, because muscle is much more condensed and it weighs a lot more. So your muscle may be going up and your fat may be going down, which is, what we're working towards. That's what we want, but it may not be reflected as well as you would think it'd be in your weight. So it's important to know, how much muscle you have, how much fat you have, and to track those differences, not just the number on the scale, because the number really doesn't mean anything. And honestly, you should not be attached to, my biggest piece of advice is don't be attached to a certain number. Having in your head, I want to weigh this amount of weight, it's not ever going to be a positive situation. Maybe you get to that weight, but what if you don't? What if your body gets to a healthy point and it's trying to keep you there, maybe 5, 10, however many pounds above where you want to be? But if it's, not where your body's meant to be, then you're just gonna be fighting against it. So you don't want that. So you want to just not have a specific number in your head, but you do want to make sure that you're tracking that muscle and fat, because that is going to be such a big key to figuring out if you actually are improving your health and just improving your body composition overall. My next tip is probably going to be a little bit controversial, but it's truly just what I believe. And if you really want sustained weight loss where you're happy and you're actually able to keep it off and you're not fighting your body all of the time, you have got to ditch counting calories, ditch counting macros. It's not going to get you anywhere in the long term. Counting calories or counting macros may give you this flexibility of being able to fit foods into certain parameters, but it's still a diet mentality and a dieting approach. And 95+% of diets fail in the long term. That is just based on research. So even though it may not be a specific diet or a specific meal plan, it's still a dieting mentality and it's not going to serve you in the long run. So the best thing to do is just ditch all of that. And I know that can be hard, but the best thing to do if you truly want to just be happy with your body and be at a point where your body gets to its happiest weight, whatever that may be, is eating intuitively. I have done a video here on my channel where I gave lots of good tips on how to eat intuitively, specifically like when you're sitting down at a meal. But I definitely want to do another video in the future because I think there's so much more that needs to be said about intuitive eating. And it really, in my opinion, is like the best way to have lifelong success, to maintain your weight or just get your body to a place where it's at its happiest. I'm actually going to link a podcast down below. One of my favorite podcasts to listen to is called Don't Salt My Game. And I'm going to, I forget the name of the episode, the girl that was on there, but she interviewed an RD and it's an awesome episode and you guys have to listen to it. But basically the point here is you're not going to count calories and you're not going to be counting macros for the rest of your life. So it's like, why waste all of that time and energy now? Plus, when you're following something like that, it's teaching you to go against your body's cues. However, there is one exception to using tracking tools like MyFitnessPal, for example, and I think it can be really beneficial and helpful to just get help people get an idea of what they're eating and how things add up, because especially if you're not in tune with your hunger and fullness cues mainly, you may not realize like how much you're eating and how it all adds up, or you may not realize that you're always under eating and you can't lose weight because you're never eating enough and your metabolism is always remaining slow because your body is in like starvation mode. So it can definitely be helpful just to give you a gauge on what you typically eat. So whether you want to just like track for a couple days to get an idea, or if you typically eat similar things, just go ahead and type in a typical day just to get an idea. But after you get that idea, get rid of those things. My next tip is to fill your body with wholesome, nourishing foods. I know you saw that one coming. But trust me, you will see that when you really just cut down on the processed and junk food that you're always eating and you replace that with like actual real food, you will notice that you feel so much better. And when you feel better, you're just gonna wanna continue to, stay the course and, continue with your slow, steady weight loss. So in my opinion, the best way to conquer this is to not keep all that junk food in the house. And I'm not saying that, junk food or processed food or like, baked goods or ice cream, whatever it is, I'm not saying that's off limits, because let's be real, you're not gonna go the rest of your life without ever having an ice cream cone again. At least I know I wouldn't do that. So instead of, having that stuff available in your house, just go out for it. If you really want ice cream, go out and get it. If you're craving it hard enough, you're gonna go get that ice cream. I know you are. I know I would. But if it's that gallon of ice cream is sitting in your freezer, you may not really want it, but it's there, so you're gonna have it. And the same goes for any kind of, not so real, unprocessed food. So if you're stocking your fridge and your cabinets, pantry, whatever, with real food, that's the best way to go, because what's in your house, what you bring into your home is what you are going to be eating. But if you want a burger or you want ice cream, you want some pizza, go out and get it every once in a while, that's fine. But just don't necessarily, stock your house with that stuff, because you're gonna end up eating it a lot more than you probably want to. My next tip is another obvious one, but such an important one, and that is to get that body moving. If you're trying to lose weight, being active is so important. Not only is it going to burn calories, but it's also just going to get your metabolism up, which means you are just going to be burning calories in the background all day, all night, all the time. Also, exercise really helps to just balance out your hormones and just make you feel much more in control and satisfied, and it really helps keep those cravings down. But the most important thing with exercise is to do it out of love. Don't do it because you have to do it to lose weight. Find something that you actually at least somewhat enjoy. If you like walking, get outside and walk all the time. Make sure to get that heart rate up, but go ahead, go for a walk. If you really like dancing, if that's a fun way for you to get some exercise in, some activity in, go take a hip hop class or a Zumba class, whatever you want, just get yourself moving. Maybe you like having a trainer, maybe that's what you need to keep yourself accountable. go see a trainer. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you are active, that is the most important thing. And if you start getting sick of a workout, no big deal at all, that's perfectly fine. Just move on and try and find something else that piques your interest. It's bound to happen over a lifetime. My fifth tip for you guys, this one is super important, and it has to do with just controlling your blood sugar. Every time you go to eat, whether that's a meal or a snack, I would try and follow either one of two templates. So either carbohydrate, protein, and fat, or just protein and fat. The reason I say this is because carbohydrates, so that could be fruit, that could be any kind of bread product, that could be anything that is sugary. All of those things, no matter what kind of source it's coming from, if it's a carbohydrate, it's going to break down into sugar in our body. That's just how our digestion works. So those carbohydrates are going to break down into sugar in our body, and then they are going to go into our bloodstream. So the objective when we are eating carbohydrates, I mean, we need to eat carbohydrates. I'm not saying to go on a low carb diet, by no means, because again, are you gonna do that forever? Probably not. The objective here is to make sure that whenever you are eating carbohydrates, you want to either consume carbohydrates that are slower to digest, like complex carbs, so that's your whole grains and your fruit that has lots and lots of fiber in it. Or if they're maybe not the slowest carbs to break down, you wanna make sure you're adding protein and fat to that, because protein and fat kind of act as a buffer. They all get mixed together when they are in your digestive system, and it just takes a lot longer for the enzymes to get at those carbohydrates to break them down, because they're all mixed together. So therefore you end up getting a slower breakdown of those carbs, and therefore a slower transfer of that sugar into your bloodstream. Best of both worlds is if you're going to have some kind of carbohydrate, have it be a complex carb, and then also pair it with some fat and protein. The other, template you can go by, just as a guideline, is just protein and fat. Protein and fat are very filling, so whether you're consuming them with a carbohydrate or not, they're going to keep you feeling full and satisfied for much longer than if you were just to eat some kind of carbohydrate. So you can either consume them with carbohydrates or without. Either way, you're going to be full and satisfied, but if you'd like to get carbs in, that would be the best way to do it. So this is important because keeping a steady blood sugar is so crucial to remaining, feeling satisfied and feeling in control, and it really keeps our cravings down. So if you completely disregard everything I just said and say, for example, you go have like a big, Philly soft pretzel, which is just straight simple carbohydrates with some salt on it, that thing is going to break down in no time, and you're just going to get this massive surge of blood sugar into your bloodstream. So you're going to get this big spike of blood sugar because all of that sugar came flooding in. And whenever there's a big spike, you guys may have heard of insulin. That's our body's way of getting sugar from our bloodstream into our cells, because our cells will use that sugar for energy. So you're gonna get this big spike of blood sugar, and our body's gonna go, whoa, we gotta deal with that, that's a little too much. And we're gonna end up getting this huge spike of insulin to match it. And when that happens, this all happens very quickly. So all of that insulin is going to take all of that sugar and it's going to suck it into all of our cells, and we're just gonna get this big dip in blood sugar. So once we get on that roller coaster, it is real hard to get off. So if you're doing this all day, every time you hit a low, even if you still have food in your stomach, your body's gonna say, whoa, our blood sugar's low, we need to eat carbs. You're gonna feel lethargic, you're gonna be craving carby foods, you're gonna be craving junk food, to be honest. So you want to stay off that roller coaster. You wanna keep things steady. So whenever you're eating carbs, try and pair it with some fat and protein, or if you're not in the mood for carbs, you can totally skip it for that meal or snack. Eating just fat and protein is going to keep you really full and not necessarily affect your blood sugar. So those are all of my weight loss tips. I hope that you guys find this video helpful. If you are curious about intuitive eating, definitely first off, check that podcast that I linked down below. There's also lots and lots of books on intuitive eating, and I will be doing a video on my channel soon to give you guys some more information, but I truly do believe that that is the way to go. Thank you so much again to Vanity Planet for sponsoring this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. And of course, I would absolutely love for you to subscribe if you are new here, and that way you will get notified every time I put up a new video. And of course, if you want to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat, I'm on there pretty much every day, so I'd love to hang out with you on there as well. So that is all for today's video, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.